Good afternoon and welcome to NCAA.com for the 2024 National Collegiate Rifle Selection Show. I'm Will Haskett. Precision, patience, and perhaps perfection will be on display in West Virginia next month when one of our first winter championships gathers to crown another NCAA title winner. March 8th and 9th at the WVU Coliseum, we'll see the top 8 qualifying teams along with select individuals vie for both individual and team championships. Alaska Fairbanks broke through last year to win another title. We'll have to defend it again this year against a very strong group of competitors in 2024. With NCAA qualifying matches completed this past weekend, the top 8 teams have been determined based on the average of their top 3 aggregate scores throughout the season, which began all the way early last fall. 2 disciplines, small bore and air rifle, make up those total scores and determine the strongest teams and individuals that are headed to Morgantown in a couple of weeks. Today, we unveil those teams and athletes set to make that trip. And we start with the teams, and we'll go in alphabetical order to unveil all 8, which means an annual quick reveal each and every year. For Air Force, the Falcons fire into the NCAA championship on the heels of the best performance in program history. This past weekend's qualifier with TCU, the Falcons hung close with the Frogs, firing a 47-39, which set a new program record. That came thanks to a new program best in the small bore. Senior Morgan Krebs also was spectacular in the competition individually, posting a 5.97 in the air rifle to match a season high. The champs check in next. Alaska Fairbanks. The Nanooks returned to the top of the sport last year, capturing the program's 11th national title. They've lost some firepower off of that team, which now belongs to Rachel Charles, who was spectacular as a freshman a season ago, posting a 5.98 in air rifle at the NCAA championships, improving throughout the season to a bronze medal individually. This season, she's been the best shooter for the team from the start, owning 6 of her team's 8 highest scores, but she has some help. The sophomore joined by Sarah Karasova, who has been worthy of the attention, north of 1180 in total aggregate all but 3 times this year. Kentucky next. The 4-time champions denied a 3rd title in a row last year, but looked to spoil the title dreams of the top rivals this season. The Wildcats shot a 47-30 in the qualifier this past weekend. That was their 3rd best score of the year, as their average improved slightly. Most importantly, it was improvement after their match prior to that was last week against West Virginia, not their best result of the year. They turned back around with a really good performance this past weekend. Strong mix of veteran and young shooters, plus the conference meet upcoming this season. There's plenty around this program to suggest we have not seen their best shooting. Navy, how about this team? Nobody hotter, perhaps, in relation to expectations than the midshipmen, who were ranked 12th in NCAA average just a couple of weeks ago, but have set program records in each of their last 3 meets to rapidly rise up the ranks and earn a spot in the final 8 teams. An air rifle program record in the NCAA qualifier this past weekend propelled them to a 47-21 aggregate total. Isabella Baldwin and Marley Duncan have been 1-2 all season. Navy continues to push each other to get better. The 1990 and 1999 national runner-ups returning to the championship with a lot of confidence and depth this spring. All right, halfway down, next team in, Nebraska. A season of record-setting performances for the Husker brings them back to the tournament, looking to surprise a few. The Huskers being led by Cecilia Ossie, who has been a massive part of the season's success, including a 5.98 in the air rifle against West Virginia to tie a school record, not to mention a 5.97 in small bore in a showdown with UTEP that shattered the previous school record of 5.93. She has paced a team that has set a new program record for aggregate back in October. That was a 47-28 score at Air Force. Now includes the highest team air rifle score in school history. What a year for the Huskers as Nebraska in as a team. They're joined by Ole Miss, another team on this list of qualifiers that enters the postseason fresh off a real quality performance. 47-15 in the NCAA qualifier against Memphis was a spring best for the Rebels. Reagan Diamond, the best shooter of that match, posting the top aggregate score. Ole Miss has some interchangeable pieces at the top of the lineup, proved by Diamond's most recent performance, but it's a year where Leah Horvath, who has plenty of NCAA experience, has the top marks for the Rebels in competition this season. 2 to go starts with TCU. The 3-time national champions are now 3-time national runner-ups in a row after another season in 2023 saw the Frogs come up 1 spot shy of the championship spot. Led by the dynamic duo of Katie Zahn and Stephanie Grunso, who entered this past weekend with 8 of the 14 best total aggregate scores of 1190 or higher. Zahn's 11.95 score in early November is still the best individual performance of this season. And they have a teammate, Stephanie Allen, who owns the only perfect 600 in any discipline this season. It came in air rifle to begin the year in September. All right, that leaves one team. You know who it is. Our hosts getting to stay at home this time around. West Virginia with a home game setting up a perfect spot for a championship run. It's been a dominant season for the Mountaineers, including the best aggregate average entering this past weekend, not to mention the 4 best team performances of any program in the country all season long, including their most recent outing. The drive for the program's 20th national title has taken 7 seasons since the last win, but could this be the year where it all comes together? The ageless Mary Tucker is back for her final season of eligibility. She's been shooting exceptionally well as she tries to lead a second program to a championship and add to her own individual hardware. The depth alongside her practically interchangeable. Molly McGinn, Matt Sanchez, Griffin Lake, all keeping pace with their season best this year with Tucker. This is a loaded team. They do not know what it's like to lose so far this year. It's going to be a really raucous championship at home there in Morgantown. All right, those are your 8 teams. That's just where we get started in this one, because we have individuals who have also qualified on the individual side to be there as well for the championship. 4 individuals have qualified into the small bore competition of the championship. They are James Hart IV from the Citadel, Paige Hollowell from Ohio State, Derek Kaiser from Ohio State, and Gabriella Zeich from Memphis. Zeich's 593 in small bore this past weekend at the NCAA qualifier is the best score by any individual not on a qualifying team here at the NCAA championship. Kaiser and Hollowell both shot well this past weekend, finishing 2nd and 3rd in their NCAA qualifier. Part of a team performance, by the way, for the Buckeyes that was better than a qualifying team here in the championship in Nebraska. All right, on the individual side, in the air rifle, we've got 6 athletes who earn the honor of an individual selection this year. Allison Henry from Murray State, Derek Kaiser again from Ohio State, Victor Kiss from Ohio State, Gavin Perkowski from Akron, Emma Pullman from Georgia Southern, and there you see Zeich again from Memphis. Kaiser and Zeich will be busy earning individual recognition in both disciplines. Zeich was also an individual shooter a year ago. Pullman will represent the Eagles, which looked to be in a position to snag their first ever team spot, but came up just short in the math at the end here. She has been really solid all season long, as the only air rifle individual on this list of 6 with a score of 599 or higher this season. And in case one of the 10 individuals we just mentioned can't make the trip to Morgantown for the national championship, we do have 2 alternates in each discipline. There you see them on your screen right now. Matthias Kuru from Murray State has an NCAA championship experience before. Victor Kiss will already be there in air rifle, but is there just in case somebody can't make it in the small bore. These are your 4, just in case somebody can't fill the spots individually in small bore and air rifle. All right, there you have it. All 8 teams and our individual qualifiers will head to Morgantown in the WVU Coliseum for the 2-day championship. Each discipline will have its own day coming up March 8th and the 9th, with the individual and team champions being crowned at Saturday's end. We have had some incredibly dramatic finishes in recent years, and this always seems to come down to the very last shot. That means you do not want to miss it. The NCAA's only competition where men and women compete side by side can be found right here streaming on NCAA.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Will Haskett. Congratulations and best of luck to all of the student athletes competing in this year's championship.
If you're not here for Fandom 101, you're in the wrong class. Here, we learn the fundamentals of fanology, the basics of bringing the noise, and the physics of bringing it out. Your path to fan mastery begins here. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Championships. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.